So the media are attacking Tucker Carlson because it's a day ending in Y, but this time they've decided to go all out because of the Buffalo shooting, which, if you're not available or aware of, we shall just briefly mention here, which is the fact that the Buffalo shooting, Biden rebukes poison of white supremacy, being the BBC headline, because the guy was motivated by white supremacy. We can't go into his manifesto and actually look at what he believed because of the online censorship, because we live in a free country.
If you are interested...
Yeah.
So, if you're interested in finding out, you
actually,
can find
no,
out.
I don't think we can say that, so...
Oh, okay, sorry.
Don't look it up. Don't try and find out what he actually believed, because if you do, you might find out he has some sympathies with the socialists, and that would be damaging to the narrative, of course. But there's also the point, which being left-wing doesn't stop you being a white supremacist. It's very simple, as well. But on to the Tucker Carlson stuff. So if we go to the next one here, we're just going to cut off the gun control narrative off of the mark here. Matt Christensen making the point. One of the own senators for New York was calling for an assault weapons ban in the face of this. And Matt just pointing out, you already have it, dum-dum.
Yeah.
Which is why this monstrosity exists, to get around your assault weapons ban, because it's stupid.
Oh, God, yeah, this.
Yeah. There's also a long history, as Tucker will go on to point out, but we don't have time to play, which is that he has a history of mental illness, which is the fact that the teachers and the police sent him to the psych ward because he kept saying he was going to go on a murder-suicide, and then when they sent him to the psych ward, he insisted he wasn't joking, and then he went and did it. So...
Wasn't he also one of those people where the news comes out and it's like the FBI had an eye on him for a while?
Because he was literally saying, I'm going to go and kill people.
Yep, and they didn't do anything.
No, so the question you thought you would ask is, well, why didn't we stop him? But no, of course, that's not the one instead. The media, of course, going with, this is all Tucker Carlson's fault. Tucker Carlson did this. As you can see, The Guardian going with Fox News suddenly goes quiet on the great replacement theory after Buffalo shooting. If we go to the next one, we then have another outlet going with, yes, Tucker Carlson shares blame for the Buffalo white supremacist supermarket attack. If we go to the next one, we have Tucker Carlson is to blame. Fails to distance himself from Buffalo shooter's manifesto. Next one, Tucker Carlson attempts to distance himself from Buffalo shooting victim. Manifesto. Suspect who basically spewed his racist commentary verbatim. There we are. Neutral reporting from Vanity Fair there.
Yep.
And this is because Tucker Carlson says that the left gloat about demographics, therefore he's done this. This is the non-thinking part. I don't think the left have thought this through. And we can't go into much of what he believes, of course, as I've said, but we can go to this aspect, which is the left wing speaking on the subject.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we'll show throughout this segment is that, shockingly enough, you can come to these conclusions without having ever watched Tucker Carlson.
No, you don't need to. And also, Tucker Carlson hasn't done anything.
In fact,
literally zero work.
You could come to these conclusions by watching CNN.
Yeah. Carlson, taking clips of them talking about replacing the population, is him promoting a great replacement conspiracy theory. I was like, no, he's not done any work. Like, he's literally just played your clips. He's done nothing more. So,
in fact, he's kind of being lazy about it.
To say that this means that this is him promoting some kind of theory, no, he's not. Like, he's just demonstrating your own ideology.
I mean, this is the problem they've got with libs of TikTok. No, you can't show us saying exactly what we mean. That makes us look bad.
Yeah, you're promoting a queer conspiracy theory to indoctrinate our children. No, she's not. She's playing clips of what you've said, and Tucker does exactly the same. And we'll play the clip of his response to this. So we'll start off with just him pointing out that the shooter was clearly mentally ill, as well as politically extreme. Not to deny. Let's play.
First, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Last May, a 17-year-old high school senior called Peyton Gendron received an assignment in his economics class. The assignment asked, "What do you want to do when you retire?" He answered, "Commit murder-suicide." Gendron's teacher immediately reported his threat to authorities, who sent him to the emergency room for a psychiatric evaluation. Gendron was there for just 20 hours. As he wrote later in his diary, quote, "I got out of it because I stuck with the story that I was getting out of class and I just stupidly wrote that down. That's the reason I believe I am still able to purchase guns." But he was lying. Gendron's intention to commit mass murder was, as he later wrote, quote, "not a joke. I wrote that down because that's what I was planning to do." And he was. Peyton Gendron was mentally ill. His classmates knew that. Gendron made strange facial expressions and said odd things in class. Last year, he showed up for school for a full week wearing a hazmat suit. Boots, gloves, everything, recalled another student. Police and school administrators understood perfectly well that Gendron was potentially dangerous. That's why they sent him to the psych ward. Even his own parents must have known that something was very wrong. Gendron's diary describes how his mother helped him bury a cat he had beaten to death in their garage and then beheaded with a hatchet. On Saturday, Peyton Gendron, as you know, finally did what he said he would do. He committed mass murder. He opened fire on a crowd of strangers in a Buffalo supermarket. He murdered 10 of them. So how did the adults around him let this happen? In a country with functioning leadership, we would be asking that question. The signs of mental illness were certainly there. The people in charge missed those signs or didn't take them seriously enough, weren't paying close enough attention. In any case, they didn't fix it. They let a killer slip through. So what did they do wrong with Peyton Gendron, and how can we learn from it? We should learn from it if we want to prevent more mass murders.
The obvious question.
Yep.
Any reasonable person would be asking that.
I mean, Tucker sounds like he's asking all the right questions, and I, honestly, given all of that evidence, could have told you that this was coming.
And no, that's not the response of the elites. Instead,
Nope.
as he will point out, it's them deciding their response to this is, well, how do I gain power? Let's play.
But that's not at all what our leaders are asking tonight, hardly. Instead, they're asking the only question that ever occurs to them. How exactly can I benefit from this? How can I leverage this tragedy to my advantage? How can other people's suffering make me more powerful? It didn't take long for Joe Biden to find a way. Biden flew to Buffalo this morning to speak about what Peyton Gendron did. There have been a number of mass murders since Biden became president. Some of them have been racially motivated. A little over a year ago, in fact, there was even another supermarket massacre that happened to have the same casualty total. A Syrian-born man murdered 10 people in Boulder, Colorado. He even used the same caliber rifle that Peyton Gendron brought to Buffalo. You've heard a lot about the great replacement theory recently. It's everywhere in the last 2 days, and we're still not sure exactly what it is. Here's what we do know for a fact. There is a strong political component to the Democratic Party's immigration policy. We're not guessing this. We know this, and we know it because they have said so. They've said it again and again and again. They've written books on it, and monographs, and magazine articles. They've bragged about it endlessly. They talk about it on cable news constantly. And they say out loud, we are doing this because it helps us to win elections. That's not something they've said once. It's something they've gloated about again and again and again. And we think that's wrong. And in case you doubt us, here they are.
Blue wave is African American. It's white, it's Latino, it's Asian Pacific Islander. It is made up of those who've been told that they are not worthy of being here. It is comprised of those who are documented and undocumented.
In a couple of presidential cycles, you'll be on election night. You'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state because of the demographics.
The demographics of America are not on the side of the Republican Party. The new voters in this country are moving away from them, and instead they're moving to be independents or to even vote on the other side.
An unrelenting stream of immigration, non-stop. Folks like me who were Caucasian of European descent, for the first time in 2017, will be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
I mean, well, there you have it. I mean, like you say, it's exactly libs of TikTok all over again, which is, okay, here's footage of you guys promoting your own left-wing ideology, and that is a left-wing ideology, whatever you want to call this theory. Well, that's some state...
Well, it's inherently left-wing because they're assuming, and in some cases might be correct, that whoever they're importing into the country will vote left-wing.
It is a democratic strategy. I mean, the statement that's been used there, the theory name, which is just some gay Frenchman came up with. I'm not joking, it was actually a gay Frenchman as well. Sorry to just rip on France every day.
It's true, you can look it up.
Yeah, that's not relevant. What's relevant here is left-wing ideology. And left-wing ideology is, as you can show, just in clips form. You can show them talking about exactly this as a source of our strength.
The amusing thing about the gay Frenchman that I've seen is that he was also a massive leftist until he realised the demographics in his country were changing, and he was like, have we been doing this the whole time?
On the wrong side of the left who decided that's bad, whereas he should be on the right side of the left and decide that's a good thing. Like Joe Biden there, saying it's a source of our strength. And that's the thing. None of this is right-wing. None of this is anything to do with the right. This is entirely left-wing ideology.
The right didn't just make up this terminology out of nowhere.
No, and if you play clips, as you can see Tucker Carlson doing there, which is like, here's the clips of you guys saying this, then he's the bad man for pointing it out. It's like, no, this is the same thing with the grooming gangs in the UK. It was like, look, are the rapes the cause of the division, or is it the reporting on the rapes? It's the rapes.
Yes.
It's the racially motivated crimes that are the problem.
I was fine with these rapes until I heard about them.
That's the way the people apparently think about it. And the problem that they have is that he's pointing it out, as the same with Libs of TikTok. Moving forward quickly, which is just that Tucker goes on to mention articles like this in the New York Times. We can replace them.
And that just says it all.
If you think I'm joking, right in here they have the text. Right now, America is tearing itself apart as an embittered white conservative minority clings to power, terrified of being swapped by a new multicultural polyglot majority.
I wonder if there's anything, because that's literally what you're threatening to do.
You're a left-wing outlet. You're the New York Times. Again, this is left-wing ideology. It has nothing to do with the right in the slightest. It's the right pointing out the left's own thoughts. Abrams' goal is to put together a coalition of African-American and other minority voters and white liberals. The potential is there. Georgia is less than 53% non-Hispanic white. Georgia is a blue state if everybody votes, DeBose Porter, chairman of the Democratic Party in Georgia, told me. Of course, making the assumption that they just own non-whites. The Democrats, every non-white belongs to the Democratic Party.
It is fantastic that they just dob themselves in so much by just saying, like, if you are a racial minority of any variety whatsoever, you are automatically left-wing or you're an Uncle Tom.
Which is, what is it? Candace Owens calls it the plantation, because that's the mentality.
Yep.
And you can see it in real time. And then the idea, again, the right doesn't believe this. I mean, the right believes that this is complete bull. As Tucker went on to give the example of this, constituency in Texas, in which they endlessly say, oh, well, if we have Mexicans move here, it'll turn blue. It was one of the most red districts in Texas because they're most pissed off about the border.
Well, yeah, also Mexicans tend to be Catholic, which is not that leftist.
Kemp is the candidate of aggrieved whiteness, the opposing party here, of course. During the primary, he ran an ad boasting that he drives a big truck just in case he needs to round up criminal illegals and take them home myself. Yes, if you want borders, you're part of the whiteness. You're part of the white coalition. It's according to a left-wing outlet. Again, this is a left-wing philosophy of how race and politics works,
well, I mean,
not a right-wing one.
In that clip that Tucker showed from Georgia, she literally said our voter base is made up of documented and undocumented. So if you let those illegals in, they're going to let them vote if they can get away with it.
But if you want borders, then you're part of the white minority. So a lot of these people who would call themselves black are no longer black. Again, the you're not black statement.
Did you know that China built an entire wall around the country?
Yeah.
Massive whiteness.
If we move forward, also just remembering that the New York Times are the same guys who made the Tucker Carlson experience, and they're just like, did you know he's promoting the idea that we think that we can replace the native population with immigrants and have them to vote in the election so we can win every time? That's because it's your own reporting. Like, this isn't Tucker doing anything. I mean, Tucker does an amazing amount of work. He's a busy man. But in this regard, it is true that he's just sitting back and playing clips.
Yeah,
like, he doesn't have to do
also,
much.
if you haven't checked out this New York Times article, it's honestly wonderful. It's the greatest advertisement that Tucker Carlson could ever have wished for. And it's free for him. He didn't spend a penny on it.
And they do it for free. And also, if we go forward, we just have the culture of the left as well. I mean, we have the funny men, the late-night funny men who are so funny.
Oh,
don't... They're not. It's obviously, I'm doing the internet historian thing there. But Jimmy Fallon's audience reacting to the white population dropping in the USA. I wonder how they reacted. With indifference, as you might expect? No, of course not. Let's play.
More news. The results of the 2020 census just came out, and for the first time in American history, the number of white people went down.
Wait, what?
That's an interesting reaction to that.
Even Fallon, an establishment stooge he may be, knew that that's kind of a weird reaction you got there, guys.
Yeah, well, they're not doing anything unexpected. They are doing exactly what a good left-winger would do if they're following the modern left's philosophy. If we go to the next one, this is just the source of all this, as we mentioned, which is the Origins of Intersectionality podcast that me and Carl did, in which you just look into Kimberly Crenshaw just openly saying that, well, yes, we want to put minorities in the center in a position of supremacy. Right, okay.
Wow, okay.
Fantastic. I mean, this is the thing. Like, the modern left's ideology is clearly an ideology based on reducing the majority demographics of the United States, and they want to do that, not for no reason, but because it's based on their hatred of how the United States values liberal values over socialist values. That is it. That's as simple as it gets. And therefore, they want to destroy the United States in its entirety, and one of the ways they want to do it is by changing the demographics, in their own words. This is not a right-wing theory. I say it again. This is Kimberly Crenshaw's own thoughts, the left's own thoughts. Why they are whooping the fact that the white majority went down, and not indifferent like everyone else. Instead, they are pleased about the matter, ecstatically pleased. And pointing that out is the problem. That's what Tucker Carlson did. That's his crime. Is pointing out clips of them in their own words. Again, left-wing theory. No one else is here. And then the media are infuriated that he dare do this. If we go to the next one as well, we also have, they would just go to the extremists themselves, in which you have Fox here saying where replacement theory comes from and why it refuses to go away. Because it's left-wing gloating.
Look in the mirror.
Yeah. Why it won't go away? Because the mainstream left still believe in this as a foundational part of their ideology. It's not part of the right, in the slightest. Not part of them. If we go to the next one, we also have the quotes from people in response to all this. So we have Verified Checkmark coming out and saying, for example, being anti-racist starts by admitting whiteness is a disease. That tweet stays up. That's not deleted.
Okay.
Do you want to redo it and change the word whiteness with Jewry? And then see, it's still a left-wing opinion if you do that, so that would probably still stay up as well. If we go to the next one, we also have another one here from some guy saying whiteness is an unrelenting demonic force of evil. It's only a few days ago. He put this one up, 3 days ago. And if you scroll down on this, we can see that someone did report it to Twitter. Twitter decided that this is not subject to removal under Twitter's rules.
Oh god, I love cornstarched critters.
Yeah, there we are. It's also apparently not a violation of German law either to say that whiteness is a demonic force that needs to be exterminated. That's perfectly fine, according to the modern left. Again, this is all left-wing ideology. Pointing that out is not bad. It is part of politics, which is like, here's what the opposition genuinely believe. And if we go to the next one here, we can see Matt Walsh absolutely getting it. The left, whiteness is a problem. The right, the left thinks whiteness is a problem. The left, that's great replacement theory. You racist. No, it's not. It is just pointing out what modern leftist thought is, which doesn't have to do with the gay Frenchman's beliefs or statement. Instead, we can just point to Joe Biden's own statements, which is that it is the source of our strength, as he says. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Epoch series, The Bodas, this one on the Strategicon of Maurice. And if you'd like to see more, you can follow us on Getter at @lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.